I have a question for you, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. We live in a culture that absolutely worships the grind, right? If you want a promotion, you work late. If you want six-pack abs, you hit the gym until you literally cannot walk. We are trained to believe that input equals output. 100% effort equals 100% results.
Oh yeah, it is the linear equation of success. We just apply it to everything.
Exactly. But what happens when you apply that same brute force logic to your own mind? Have you ever felt like the harder you try to fix yourself, the harder you try to force yourself to be calm or spiritual or just a better person?
The worse it gets.
Yes. The more stressed out you actually get. You're sweating, you are white-knuckling it, but the anxiety is just ramping up.
It is the spiritual burnout paradox. And frankly, I mean, it is where most people quit. They think, I'm trying so hard, why do I feel like I'm about to snap?
Yeah. Well, today we are taking a deep dive into a source that validates that feeling in a massive way. We are looking at a lecture by Master Jingji on the Surangama Sutra. Now, just for some quick context, the Surangama Sutra is a major heavy hitter in Mahayana Buddhism. It is often called the monster spotting mirror because it is designed to expose all your delusions. And Master Jingji drops a bomb right at the start of this lecture. He basically says, what if working harder at your practice is actually the thing that is destroying you?
It is such a provocative opening. He is challenging the very definition of diligence. Usually we see diligence as this ultimate virtue, but he points out a specific trap. He talks about seeing practitioners who are incredibly disciplined. They are chanting Buddha names, they are meditating for hours.
And all the right things on paper.
Right, doing all the right things. But their afflictions, meaning their anger, their anxiety, their jealousy, actually get heavier.
That is the nightmare scenario right there. You put in the hours and you come out a worse person.
He even says that in extreme cases, this kind of wrong effort can lead to severe mental instability, physical illness, or even death. It is not just ineffective, it is actively harmful.
Okay, that is honestly terrifying. Meditate wrong and you might die. So we really need to unpack this immediately. Because my instinct, and I think most people's instinct, is that if I have a negative thought, let's say I am really angry at my boss, I need to crush that thought. I need to clamp down on it.
Right, the classic serenity now approach.
Exactly. I try to force the anger back into the box, but Master Jingji identifies this as the core error. He calls this suppression. Why is suppression such a dangerous strategy?
Because it turns your internal life into a literal war zone. And it is a war you cannot win. Master Jingji asks us to look at the math here. It's a battle of numbers. He asks, how long have you been practicing? How long have you been trying to be good?
I mean, I don't know. Seriously. Maybe 5 years.
Okay, 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, according to the Buddhist worldview that he is pulling from, how long have your habits, your tendencies toward anger, greed, and confusion been accumulating?
Well, the text says infinite eons.
Infinite eons. So, just let's do the math. You have a little army that has been training for 5 years. You are sending them out to fight an enemy force that has been entrenching itself for infinite eons. If you try to fight a war of attrition, if you try to use suppression to just beat the thoughts into submission,
you are going to get slaughtered.
Precisely. Master Jingji calls it mutual destruction. You might hold the anger back for a moment. You might scream a mantra loud enough to drown it out for a minute, but you will exhaust yourself. And the moment you get tired, the affliction is still there, just waiting. It has more supplies than you do.
It is like trying to stop a freight train by standing on the tracks and holding up your hand.
Yes, that is exactly it.
That feels incredibly hopeless, though. If I cannot fight the bad thoughts, and I cannot just let them run wild and ruin my life, what is the third option? I feel like I'm stuck.
You're stuck because you are pulling. This is where the Surangama Sutra offers this brilliant metaphor of the knot.
The knot. Okay, walk me through this one.
Imagine a towel with a tight knot tied right in the center. Suppression, trying to force the thoughts away, is like grabbing both ends of the towel and pulling as hard as you can.
Which just makes the knot tighter.
Exactly. The harder you pull, the tighter and smaller and harder that knot becomes. This is why trying hard to be calm makes people so incredibly tense. You cannot untie a knot by pulling on the ends. You have to look at the center of the knot. You have to understand how it was tied in the first place.
So we need insight, not force. We need to stop pulling and start investigating.
This actually leads us to the part of the lecture that felt like a detective story to me. Master Jingji basically says, if you want to untie the knot, you have to find the culprits who tied it. And he introduces this group of villains called the 6 thieves.
The Six Thieves. It sounds like a heist movie, but it is one of the most foundational metaphors in the tradition.
So who are these guys? Who is ruining my peace of mind?
They are closer than you think. They are your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Wait, my own senses are the thieves. That feels a bit unfair. I mean, I need my eyes to drive. I need my ears to hear this deep dive. They were just data inputs, aren't they?
They are data inputs, yes.
Right.
But in the context of the Suragama Sutra, they're called thieves because of what they steal. They steal your household treasures.
And the treasures are what, exactly?
Your true nature, your inherent clarity, stability, and inner peace. The state of mind that doesn't need to be fixed. Master Jingji explains that the robbery happens constantly. Every time your eye chases a beautiful object and you get attached to it, like, I must have that. Or your ear chases a criticism and you get angry at it.
I hate that.
Right. When you do that, you are effectively unlocking the door and letting the world come in to loot your house.
Well, hold on a second. This is where I always get stuck with this philosophy. It feels like we are blaming the victim here. Let's say I'm stuck in traffic, it is hot, I'm late, and someone cuts me off and just lays on their horn. That is annoying. That noise is an external reality. Are we saying the noise isn't the problem?
This is the critical distinction. And if you as a listener only take one thing away from our discussion today, this should be it. Master Jingji, referencing the great Master Wu Yi, separates this into external thieves and internal thieves.
Okay, let's break that down.
The external thieves are the dust, the sounds, the people, the traffic, the rude boss. It is the entire world outside your skin.
Okay, so the guy honking his horn is an external thief.
Yes. And the internal thieves are your senses and your mind's reaction to them.
Got it.
Here is the rule, and Master Wu Yi is absolute about this. An external thief cannot rob your house unless the internal thief opens the door.
Whoa. Okay. So the traffic cannot actually steal my peace on its own.
Not on its own. Think about it physically. The traffic is just sound waves. It is just photons hitting your retina. It is neutral physics. It only becomes suffering when your internal thief, your hearing in your mind, latches onto that sound, invites it inside, and labels it. This is bad. This is disrespectful. I cannot handle this.
So the internal thief is the accomplice?
Master Wu Yi argues the internal thief is the ringleader. Think about how we live our lives. We spend our whole lives screaming at the external thieves. We try to fix the traffic, fix our spouse, fix the economy, cancel the people we do not like. We are constantly patrolling the neighborhood with a shotgun, trying to keep the bad things away.
Which is exhausting and impossible. You cannot control the world.
Exactly. But Master Jingji says, if you lock the door, if you manage the internal thief, it does not matter what is happening in the neighborhood. The guy can honk his horn all day. If the door is locked, you do not get robbed. You keep your treasure.
That is a tough pill to swallow because I love blaming the external world, but it's also really empowering because I cannot clear the highway, but I might be able to lock my own door.
Right. The locus of control shifts from outside to inside.
But that brings us back to the how. We established that suppression, like slamming the door and holding it shut while screaming, does not work. That is just the not again. So how do we actually deal with these internal thieves without fighting them?
This is the absolute genius of the Suragama teaching. Master Jingji explains that the senses, the eyes, ears, mind, are actually neutral tools. They are like a portal. And a portal can work in two directions.
Two directions.
Yes, he calls it the front door and the back door.
Okay, let's visualize this. What is the front door?
The front door opens outward. This is called seeking outside. It is what we do 99% of the time. The eye sees a car and the mind rushes out the door to grab it. I want that. The ear hears an insult and the mind rushes out to fight it. Your energy is constantly leaking out of your house to chase things.
So you are leaving home. You are abandoning your treasure to go chase garbage in the street.
Vividly put, yes. And this path, the front door, leads straight to samsara, the cycle of stress and suffering. You are constantly running after things that change and disappear.
And the back door.
The back door opens inward. In the text, this is called returning the radiance.
Returning the radiance. It sounds really poetic, almost mystical, but what does it actually mean in practice? How do I return my radiance?
It means reversing the flow of attention. Instead of the attention flowing out to the object you see, you turn the attention back to look at the ability to see.
Okay, I am trying to wrap my head around this. Can you give me a concrete example? Let's go back to the traffic horn.
Sure. Scenario A, the front door. You hear the horn. Your mind immediately goes to the driver. What a jerk.
Right.
You are now mentally sitting in his car, angry at him.
Right.
You have left your house.
Right. I'm completely engaged with the external object.
Scenario B, the back door. You hear the horn. But instantly, You turn your attention 180 degrees. You ask, who is hearing this sound? You look at the silence in your own mind that allows the sound to be heard in the first place. You rest in the hearing, not the noise.
So you are not trying to stop the sound. You are not plugging your ears.
No, not at all. The sound is still there. The external thief is banging on the windows, but the internal thief isn't opening the door. You are staying home, resting in your own awareness.
Yep.
You are not suppressing the hearing. You are just changing the direction of the traffic.
It is a shift in perspective. You are moving from the content of the experience, the noise, to the context of the experience, the awareness itself.
Perfectly put. And this shift from content to context is the key to untying the knot. You do not have to pull on the ends. You just realize you are the rope, not the knot.
This reminds me of that Zen story Master Jingji tells in the lecture, the one about the wash basin. I feel like that story is the perfect stress test for this entire concept. It is funny, but it is also really deep.
It really is. It is a classic Komean setup. You have an old abbot who is about to retire, and he needs to pick a successor. He needs someone who has opened the back door, someone who has realized the nature of mind. He cannot just pick someone who has read the most books or memorized the most sutras.
Right, because reading books is just more front door stuff. It is just collecting more concepts and labels. So the test is weirdly simple. He puts a wash basin, some translations say a water jug, right in the middle of the floor. He gathers all the monks and says, "What is this?" But there is a massive catch.
The condition is you cannot call it a wash basin.
Which seems like a total trap. It is a wash basin. If I point at a cat and tell you, do not call it a cat, your brain just freezes.
Yeah, right. And this is exactly where the intellectual monks fail. They look at the object and their minds rush out the front door. They try to find a clever concept to replace the word wash basin. One monk says, it is a giant cup. Another says, it is a vessel for holding water.
They are trying to outsmart the test, but they are still playing the game of labeling the external object.
Exactly. They're still attached to the form. They are still seeking outside. Then the lowest ranking monk in the entire temple, the cook, who probably hasn't read half the books the others have, walks up. He doesn't say a single word. He just kicks the wash basin over and walks away.
He just punts it across the room.
And the abbot says, okay, you are the new abbot.
I love that image. The scholars are there with their thesauruses just sweating, and the cook just kicks the thing. But we need to be careful here, because it sounds like the lesson is just to be rebellious or be rude. Why was kicking it the right answer?
It wasn't just rebellion. Master Jingji explains the nuance here. Kicking the basin demonstrated that he wasn't stuck in the form. He wasn't paralyzed by the concept of basin or not basin. He broke the attachment. That is opening the back door, realizing that the name and the form are empty. He saw through the matrix, so to speak.
But there is a detail Master Jingji mentions that I thought was crucial, and frankly, it saved the story for me. He says the monk kicks it, but then he puts it back, or at least implies that the function continues.
Yes, this is vital. The point isn't to destroy the world. The point is to break the attachment to the world. You kick the concept, that is emptiness, but you can still use the basin, that is existence. You are not trapped by it.
That seems to be the balance. The front door is getting stuck in the concept, like this is a basin, this is valuable. The back door is seeing the reality, which allows you to interact with the world freely without being owned by it.
Precisely. The cook could use the basin or kick the basin. The other monks were being used by the basin.
Now, up to this point, we have been talking about stress, traffic, wash basins. It is all very philosophy of daily life. But Master Jingji takes a hard pivot in the second half of the lecture. He stops being polite and starts talking about death. And I have to say, the tone really shifted for me here.
It is the heaviest part of the text by far. He shifts the context entirely to the end of life.
He asks a question that I think a lot of listeners might be thinking right now. Why do I need to master this backdoor technique right now? Cannot I just figure it out later? Cannot I just be a good person, pay my taxes, and handle the heavy meditation stuff when I am retired?
And his answer is a resounding no. He paints a very vivid, very realistic picture of the dying process. He says, look, when you're on your deathbed, it is not going to be a calm philosophical seminar.
No, your body is failing. The 4 elements are dissolving. You might be in pain. There are medical tubes everywhere. Your family is crying around you. It is absolute chaos.
He calls it the chaotic intersection. And he warns us, if you haven't practiced turning inward, if you haven't learned to find that back door now while you are healthy and sane, you will not be able to do it then.
Because you simply won't have the mental bandwidth to learn a new skill while you are actively dying.
Exactly. Your internal thieves, your senses will be absolutely panicking. And to drive this home, He uses the bathroom analogy.
Which sounds mundane, but in this context, it is actually terrifyingly accurate.
He asks, if you wake up in the middle of the night in your own home, pitch black, can you find the bathroom?
Yeah, totally. I can do it with my eyes closed. I know exactly how many steps. I know where the door frame is.
Why? How do you know that?
Because I have done it 10,000 times. It is muscle memory. My body just knows the path.
It is a well-worn path. Master Jingji says that returning the radiance, looking inward at your own nature, must become exactly like walking to the bathroom in the dark. It has to be that familiar. It has to be instinctual.
So when the lights literally go out at death, you need to know the route without even thinking.
Yes. And here is the warning. We are currently building a well-worn path every single day. But for most of us, that path is the front door.
Right. My well-worn path is checking my phone. My well-worn path is worrying about work. My well-worn path is constantly seeking distraction.
And that is the danger. Master Jingji warns that if your habit, your familiar road, is looking outward, chasing the world, chasing data, chasing validation, then when death comes and the chaos hits, you will slide right down that road. You will follow the path of least resistance right back into samsara. You will chase the illusions because that is what you practiced doing for 40 years.
So we are literally paving the highway we are going to travel on when we die right now with every single thought.
Yes. He uses the phrase, trample the grass. Imagine a field of tall grass. If you walk the same line every day, eventually it becomes a dirt path. Then it becomes a road. You need to trample the grass on the inward path until it becomes a highway. So when the crisis hits, you do not have to think. You just naturally go inward.
That is such a powerful call to action. It recontextualizes the entire practice. It is not about being holy or pious. It is about training a survival instinct.
It really is. It is about survival of the spirit. It is disaster preparedness for the mind.
So let's bring this all together. We have covered a lot of abstract ground today. Knots, thieves, wash basins. So let's recap the mission here.
We started with the paradox of effort. Hard work backfires if it is just suppression. Do not try to arm wrestle your negative thoughts. You will lose. That is just pulling on the knot.
Then we met the thieves. The 6 thieves are our own senses. But the real problem isn't the external thief, the world, the traffic, the boss. It is the internal thief, our attachment, that unlocks the door.
And the solution is to switch doors. Stop using the front door of outward grasping. Start using the back door of inward awareness. Be like the monk who kicked the wash basin. Engage with the world, use the world, but do not get stuck in the concepts.
And finally, the urgency. This isn't a hobby. We have to practice this now. We have to make the path inward as familiar as finding your bathroom in the dark, so we are ready when the lights go out.
That is it. It is a complete roadmap for the mind.
So Master Jingji gives us the theory, but I want to leave you, the listener, with something you can actually do today. Because return the radiance can feel a bit abstract when you were just standing in line at the grocery store.
Well, Master Jingji leaves us with a great clue about where to start. He notes that while all 6 senses are thieves, there are 3 ringleaders that are the most active for us humans: the eyes, the ears, and the mind.
The big 3.
The big 3. The tantric traditions focus heavily on the eyes, visualizing mandalas to harness that visual energy. The Pure Land and Surangama traditions focus heavily on the ears, listening to the chant or listening to the silence. And the mind is the general coordinating it all.
So here is my challenge to you, and honestly to myself as well. The next time you feel overwhelmed or angry or just stressed, treat it like a drill. Stop for 1 second. Do not try to suppress it. Do not scream serenity now.
Right. Do not fight the knot.
Instead, ask yourself a diagnostic question. Which door is open right now?
Exactly. Ask, am I looking out at the problem? Am I obsessed with the person who insulted me? Or can I turn that light around? Can I look in at the one who is seeing? Can I look in at the one who is hearing?
Catch the internal thief with his hand on the doorknob? That is the moment of power.
It is a small shift, but if you do it enough times, you start to trample that grass. You start to build the path home.
Thank you for taking this deep dive into the nature of the mind with us. It is heavy stuff, but man, is it useful.
It is the only work that really matters in the end.
See you next time.